Good morning. Welcome to First Congregational Church of Memphis. Whether you are here in the sanctuary with us or you are elsewhere online, we want to say welcome on this very first Sunday of Advent. This is a community that is committed to making peace in all places. We are a community that is committed to undoing racism in all of its forms. And we're a community committed to affirming love in its every expression and orientation. And it's so good that we're here together.
Welcome, friends. Please join me in the reading of the litany for the Advent Candle of Hope. Come, O God, into our hearts and into this place. Come, quickly, stars. Come, O God, into our lives and into our world. Come, O God, through our words and in our songs. Come, O God, through our acts of justice and through our acts of worship. Now we light the Advent candle of hope. This morning's scripture reading is from Isaiah 64, 1 through 9. Oh, that you would tear open the heavens and come down, so that the mountains would quake at your presence, as when fire kindles brushwood and the fire causes water to boil, to make your name known to your adversaries, so that they may tremble at your presence. When you did awesome deeds that we did not expect, you came down, the mountains quaked at your presence. From ages past no one has heard, no ear has perceived, no eye has seen any God besides you, who works for those who wait. You meet those who gladly do right, those who remember you in your ways. But you were angry and we sinned. Because you hid yourself, we transgressed. We have all become like one who is unclean, and all our righteous deeds are like a filthy cloth. We all fade like a leaf, and our iniquities, like the wind, take us away. There is no one who calls on your name or attempts to take hold of you, for you have hidden your face from us, and have delivered us into the hand of our iniquity. Yet, O Lord, you are our creator. We are the clay, and you are our potter. We are all the work of your hand. Do not be exceedingly angry, O Lord, and do not remember iniquity forever. Now consider, we are all your people.
He flies through the air with the greatest of ease, the daring young man on the flying trapeze. Come up, I need some customers, let's go. Oh, good morning, what a beautiful dress you got on today. Come join us. He has beautiful movements, I'm sure you'll all will agree. The daring young man on the flying trapeze. Good morning. What a good tiara you got on today. Beautiful. Come on and join us up here. Oh, and brought some friends too. That's good. I like that. All right. See if I can reach them. Good morning. Good morning. I double dog dare this church to make me behave. I always have ever since I got here. I show up. I take the suggestions. I do what they say, but I push it to the limit all the time. Let me tell you, boy. And you folks are really good at keeping me together. I swear you are. Amen. If you don't think that this church and your church is the best church around, then you should go start shopping now and look for other candidates. That's what I always say. We have a very say yes church. We just say yes, but we also have a church that welcomes saying no too, and that's really cool about a church. I found that most of the time it's not the church, it's about you putting into what you get out of it. That's what I've learned here too, so I've tried to learn to behave. Now, Advent is a time for getting ready for Batman to come. It's a time for getting ready. We need to get ready to receive. That's what we're thinking about here is receiving. And this is a place where you can do that, right here at this church. Our church family will help us get ready during the Advent spirit, and that's another thing about this church. All these people here, are here to help us stir up joy, hope, love, and peace. And so we can make our way towards Christmas. And church is where you go to find things that are really important. That's one of the reasons churches are here, because it tries to keep the things that are really important where we can find them. And they're right here. Now, I've got on one of my old church t-shirts today. And it gives us some clues. It says we can start right here with, don't do that, it gets louder. You start right here with forgiveness. That's what it says right here, that our church tries to keep lessons and learning and spirit about forgiveness. It also says acceptance. It tries to keep that energy here so that we can get ready to receive acceptance and to be acceptance and to do that during Advent. It also says apparently that the baby Jesus needs a bike tune-up every once in a while. It says that right there too. So not only do we want to say that we want to stir up that love and joy in ourselves, but we want to stir it up in each other too, because we're only as strong as all of us here together. So not only think about during this time of getting your own self and listening to what's said to you, you want to be able to interact with other people too and encourage them to stir up that hope, courage, and faith. So what I'm thinking about here is that as we count down these days to Christmas, which we all are, anybody know how many days till Christmas? You're going to need some new ones of these. You better know how many days it is before you're going to get them again. 22. I'm not sure myself, but I take your word for it. So stay close to each other and think about spreading cheer. That's one of the good words during Christmas. I like cheer. I think that's a good word. It's also important that we store up our marching song. So let's go take this and go off into Christmas and get another day done. And here we go, marching out of here. Oh, thank you for being here today.
Good morning. For those of you that are new, I'm Julia Hicks. I'm on staff here at First Congo, and I get to do some more welcoming. We had a hearty, warm welcome from Pastor Tony, and now I get down into saying welcome to those of you that are new. Those of you that are looking around, you see a lot of strange faces, and we do some things sometimes a little bit differently maybe than what you've experienced in church before. But you're here today, and we're happy about it, and we hope that when the service is over, you're just going to be so glad that today was the day that you decided you'd come to First Congo. We want you to let us know that you're here. There's a couple of ways you can do it. In your bulletin, there's this yellow Congo connection sheet. These things are hot when they come into the offering plate a little bit later in the service. I think, Tony, you get them first, maybe. And he spreads the word of this person was new here, and these are the things they're interested in, ways we can help them. And if you ask to be on our newsletter list, we get you on the newsletter list. So fill this out if you're new, if you will. Give us your name. Give us however much information you feel comfortable giving us now. If you're here a couple of weeks from now, then keep giving us information. Even those of you that have been here for years, give us information whenever you can to let us know where things are. Now, if you don't have a pen or pencil, there's a QR code in your bulletin. Those of you that are up there online with the rest of the country, then there will be a link shared with you also on chat so that you can let us know. You may not be in this room, but you are with us and you're a visitor and you want to get to know us better. There's some folks here with us today that those of us that have been here for any period of time know who they are. Those of you that are new, you don't. I am going to ask the Lindstrom family to please stand up here, if you guys will stand up, and Judy and Dave, the whole group. Stay up. Stay up. It's even better than that. Yesterday, a beautiful thing happened, and that is that Sia and Bob got married. Sia, yeah. I can't hold them back. We're just so sure. Sia is Judy and Dave's daughter. She's been known in our church since for, 35 years. Because Judy's been here forever and ever. And so we're meeting Bob for the first time. I'm kind of giving Bob a salute. I was able to attend the wedding via Zoom yesterday, and I watched you closely. He looks like a good guy. And then Mike, they don't live in town, so I get to mess around with Mike is their son and his wife Jenna and his son Marshall. And so they were all here and the rest of the family was on Zoom. So I just wanted you to know about this happiness in Judy and Dave's life. It was done at Judy and Dave's house. Pastor Cheryl did the wedding service and Mark played guitar. It was stunning. Thank you. And I'm so glad you guys are here. Congratulations. Okay, I want you to look at your bulletin on the very back. You're getting lots of little calendars right now. This week, Pastor Tony sent out a calendar in blue, and it tells about all the things that are happening during this Advent season and Christmas. And that's going to get repeated, throughout the season so that you just don't forget or you know where to turn to find out. But here it is for this week, so check with all of that. Make sure that you're going to be where you want to be. Let's see, right after work, there's an Advent workshop. Did you want to say something about that? I almost forgot, Isabel.
Good morning and happy Advent. Some of y'all might know, my mom is a minister, and at every church she's ever been at, she's tried to get happy Advent to be like a thing that we say to each other, so just carrying that mantle. Happy Advent, say it back. Nice, okay, she'll be very proud of me. But yes, today's the first Sunday of Advent, which means we are having an Advent workshop for the kids after church, and honestly for whoever wants to come. If you also want to come do a little craft, we have a few crafts to do. We have cookies, dozens of sugar cookies that need to be decorated. Lots of coloring. There's like a custom First Congo Advent coloring sheet for the kids. There will also be pizza and hot cocoa, so there's really, can't go wrong with any of that. Please stop by. We're going to be in the reception room right after church. So come see us for that. And then I was also going to give a heads up that next week is our no rehearsal Christmas pageant, which I like to think of as the most adorable day of the year. All the kids come and do a Christmas pageant with absolutely no rehearsal. So we are asking the kids to get here back in the Larkin room at like 10 to get their little costumes distributed. And we would also love for the youth group to help kind of wrangle the kids, because all of y'all are veterans at that. You've done the pageant before, and we could use some hands to get people in places. And I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, continuing to look at your calendar on Wednesday, we've been making I think, Tony, you made an announcement last week about the midweek Wednesday evening contemplative services that will be led by Reverend Catherine Dixon, and it will be here in our sanctuary Wednesday evenings, these three, the 6th, the 13th, and the 20th. And this is a time of prayer, of readings, poetry, singing, labyrinth walking. And so be here in the sanctuary at 6 o'clock, any of those three. 5:30, see, I knew you needed to make that announcement. 5:30, I'm getting that mixed up with the dove. 5:30 in the sanctuary on Wednesdays, the next 3 Wednesdays. Toys, did y'all see the toys as you were coming in? This is going to be our gathering space if you would like to make some donations of toys for the children of the families, primarily the families that we serve in our food justice ministries. But we serve a lot of families and know a lot of families in different ways that could use a little help with gifts for their children. Just gifts, no clothing or anything like that. And these can be used if they're gently used and can be made to look as good as new, or if they're new. You could just, for the next several Sundays, just bring them into the sanctuary. And then our plan is on the 17th, which is a Saturday, during the farmers market, we'll be having our families come in, select gifts for their children. So we have a little time for the gathering of those toys, but that's where they're going to be going. If you bring them by when we're locked up in the sanctuary, you can just leave them in the breezeway right there, or call somebody and say, help me get in so I can drop off these toys. I want to let you know, I've been talking an awful lot about these directories, and they're ready. But what's not ready is our printer. Our printer, I have some, and I put them up on that lectern right there. And if you want one, grab one. But I only made a few because the printer is leaving streaks in it. So I want to do it better than that. So anyway, someday we're going to get these next week. Our printer guy is coming this week, so I'm really, really hopeful that that's going to happen. I want you to do a quick look in your bulletin, the next to the last page, right in front of your calendar, is we are still taking in pledges for 2024 Stewardship Drive in the Season of Giving. The Season of Giving is over. And Pastor Tony, I think we're close to 80% to our goal of $400,000. That's actually kind of record-breaking for us. We get the pledges in. It's just that getting them in as early as this is really, really cool. So anyway, if you haven't yet made your pledge, you can do it with this piece of paper and put it in one of the pledge baskets that's on the entry tables. You can do it online. So please get those in. I've got more stuff. And if you'll join me up here, I want to tell you that, as you know, during the Advent season, one of the primary ways in which we are able to afford the food justice ministries that we have here and have had here for years is through sponsorship. Sponsorship of the lunches, which serves hundreds and hundreds each week, and through the pantry, the food pantry that serves at least about 120 families per week. So these are not, we don't have it in our budget. We have Ann's salary in our budget, but we don't have the food in our budget, and we don't run short because of the generosity of this congregation. But Ann and I are going to be at the podium right after church today to offer you the opportunity to sponsor a month for the lunches, which at this time is a $1,000 sponsorship, and you can choose the month that you would like to sponsor. And we have only one month has been taken thus far. July has been taken, but we know that sometimes oftentimes the months get covered before Christmas. So if you're thinking you'd like to do this, you might want to check in with us right away so that you can get the month that you want. The food pantry is half that much. It's $500 to sponsor a month of food pantries. So if you have questions about it, if you feel ready to sponsor, anything like that, just meet Ann and me right after the service at the podium. And you wanted to say?
Yes, good morning. I'm Ann Wallace, and I'm on staff as Director of Food Justice Ministry, as most of you know. And I am standing here today because I know that Jackie thanked you last Sunday, but I also wanted to say thank you. We did it. Our Thanksgiving pantry and lunch was a success. So all of us, yeah. It was epically beautiful, I would say, just full of community and love and music, turkey and dressing, and just all things beautiful. So I wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to you all for making that happen. The pantry was stuffed full of good things to give away. And so also I wanted to make a request. This week, one of our key players is going to be out, and so we could use some mussels down in the pantry area. The food bank is coming tomorrow, and we need some help getting things off the truck and onto the shelves, a lot of heavy boxes. And also wanted to let you know that we need an hour of your time Tuesday and Thursday because our volunteers are running a little sparse this week. And so what happens is that we have a hot meal Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But if we don't have enough people to do that, we do sack lunches, which is okay. But of course, we want to do the hot meals. So if you have an hour this week, please let me know. Monday through Thursday, I would be so grateful. I'll sing at your wedding. All right, thank you.
I was wondering what was in my hand, and what's in my hand is a beautiful gift card that you will receive if you sponsor a month. And you can have it under your tree or send it in the mail. So just wanted you to know those are ready. Let's see, I'm going down my list here. Hold on. I lost my place. Don't forget that the 19th is our annual meeting and potluck, and the main thing I need to get the message to is those of you that run ministries, that are chairs of committees, that are staff members, get your annual reports to me by this Friday. And Bradley, you had a quick announcement. Did you want to make this morning? Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Bradley, and I am part of Memphis Choral Arts, along with several other people who are here in the church. And our annual holiday concert is coming up very soon, Monday, December 11th. It's not next Monday, but the Monday after at 7 p.m. at St. Peter's Cathedral downtown. This is a free concert. We'll be doing music from several different traditions, Memphis Choral Arts, along with the youth and children's chorale. So it's just going to be a really lovely night if you would like to join us.
Okay, I'm Mike Robertson, and I'm here to talk about global goods. And if you don't know what global goods is, what's wrong with you? Global goods gives you the best holiday shopping experience you'll ever have. You know when you go to those big stores and you come out and you're just frazzled half the time. The customer service was horrible. You have me instead of that. And all of our products are fair trade. And if you don't know what that means means no sweatshops. We don't have anything back there from China. You know, and I think that's a victory. And we know you cannot do all of your holiday shopping with us, but you can do some. And when you do that, you're helping people across the world who are making these products. This is an elephant grass basket that you will have the rest of your life because it is so sturdy. So come back and see us today after church. Jackie and I will probably be back there. And if you want some bad customer service, I'll hire one of you to do that. Thank you.
Okay, we got one more thing, I promise. And it's super, super important. Today is Pastor Tony's actual birthday. Wait just a second. And is it tomorrow or Tuesday, Bryant, that is your birthday? Tuesday. Stand up. Bryant's on vacation this week, and so he's taking vacation. You're not. And now let's sing happy birthday to Tony and Bryant. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tony and Bryant. Happy birthday to you. Okay, if it's possible, let's get back to worship with our morning anthem.
Love that. You just never know what kind of music this choir is going to do you? Thank you so much, y'all. Good morning again, friends, and welcome again to First Congo. On this first Sunday of Advent, thank you, Bryant. Happy birthday to you. I want to invite you to think about the power and the purpose of hope. At 5:12 in the morning, on April 18th, 1906, about a minute of seismic shaking tore up San Francisco, toppling buildings, particularly those on landfill and swampy ground, cracking and shifting others, collapsing chimneys, breaking water mains and gas lines, twisting streetcar tracks, even tipping headstones in the cemeteries. It was a major earthquake, centered right off the coast of the peninsular city, and the damage it did was considerable. And afterward came the fires. Nearly 5 square miles, more than 28,000 structures were incinerated in one of history's biggest urban infernos before aerial warfare. Nearly every municipal building was destroyed, and so were many of the downtown businesses, along with mansions, slums, middle-class neighborhoods, the dense residential commercial district of Chinatown, newspaper offices, and warehouses. These words come from Rebecca Solnit's 2009 book, Paradise in Hell. It's an exploration of how human beings' default nature is not one of competition or coercion. According to Rebecca Solnit, who looks at 5 different examples of devastating disasters, from the 1906 San Francisco earthquake to Hurricane Katrina to 9/11, according to her, our default mode of being is, in fact, one of cooperation, mutual support, and love. To make her argument, Rebecca Solnit writes of people like Anna Maria Holshouser, who, rather than give in to anger or despair, started cooking and serving others in the wake of the earthquake. After the incredible fires leveled her home and her business, after the structures on which her city had come to depend had turned to ash, after she was forced to take up residence in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park, along with countless others, she started building and mending and making. With a few pieces of fabric, blankets and carpets and tattered clothes, she sewed together a tent and offered shelter to as many people as she could fit inside it. With nothing but a tin can, a pie plate, and a makeshift stove, she started a tiny soup kitchen. And she was, in fact, not alone. Rebecca Solnit writes that stoves were built out of rubble, and people commenced to cook for each other, for strangers, for anyone in need. Some visitors from Oakland likened Holshouser's makeshift dining camp so well, they put up a sign, Palace Hotel, naming it after the burned-out downtown luxury establishment that was reputedly one of the largest hotels in the world. Humorous signs were common around the camps and street-side shelters, Solnit writes. Nearby on Oak Street, a few women ran the Oyster Loaf and the Chat Noir, 2 little shacks with their names in fancy cursive. A shack in Jefferson Square was titled the House of Mirth, with additional signs jokingly offering rooms for rent with steam heat and elevators. The inscription on the inside of Hoffman's Cafe, another little street-side shack, read, "Cheer up. Have one on me. Come in and spend a quiet evening." A menu chalked on the door of Camp Necessity, a tiny old shack, included the items flea's eyes raw, 98 cents. Pickled eels, nails fried, 13 cents. Fly's legs on toast, 9 cents. Crab's tongues stewed, ending with rainwater fritters with umbrella sauce, $9.10. From Anna Maria Holshouser's Palace Hotel To the proprietors of the oyster loaf and the chat noir, people were taking a disaster, the ruin of their whole lives, and finding inside it space for humor and levity and hope. Rather than look at the fires that had devastated their city and curse God or the officials who had failed to properly prepare for worst-case scenarios, rather than match the ruinous fire that had killed over 3,000 people with the fire of their own angry rage, they instead consulted a different kind of fire, the flame of candles that could lead them through the darkness, the flame of a makeshift stove that could boil water and make soup, the flame of a human soul warming the little slice of earth orbiting around it. What the stories of people like Anna Maria Holshauser make clear is that when disaster strikes, no matter what kind of disaster it is, we have to choose between two kinds of fire. We can stir and kindle the fire of anger. We can conjure up a burning rage and direct it at the source of our perceived injustice. Or we can kindle the fire of hope, the fire that helps us take a step forward in the dark, the fire that keeps us warm, the fire that lights our way and cooks our food. The difficulty is, though, deciding which fire. When disaster strikes, when crisis comes near, when tragedy falls into our lap, the difficulty is deciding which fire we're going to conjure. Oh, that you would tear open the heavens and come down, the author of the book of Isaiah writes, so that the mountains would quake at your presence as when fire kindles brushwood and the fire causes water to boil. These words come at a time when the Israelites felt abandoned and alone. These words come from the section of Isaiah written during what is known as the Babylonian captivity. It was a time of exile and disaster for the ancient Israelites. The Babylonian forces had infiltrated their lands and destroyed their temple, kidnapped many of their people, and scattered everybody else into unknown lands. There was a sense among some of the Israelites that God had let this happen because they had let God down. But you were angry, O God. Today's passage from Isaiah reads, and we sinned. We have all become like one who is unclean, and all our righteous deeds are like a filthy cloth. We all fade like a leaf, and our iniquities like the wind take us away. There was a sense among some of the Israelites that they themselves had caused the disaster that was ravaging their nation. It was their sin that had done it, some thought. You know, it's tempting for any of us, I think, when disaster strikes, to try and assign blame, isn't it? Part of it is that we just want to make sense of what happened. For example, maybe you've noticed this too. When someone gets news that a person they know has been diagnosed with cancer, I have noticed that people often follow that news with a series of questions. Did they smoke? Did they drink? Was there someone else in their family who had cancer? Rather than look for or try to share even the faintest flame of hope and ask, what can I do to help? Sometimes folks' first question is, how do I make sense of their crisis? When a divorce comes, or a mental illness becomes apparent, or an arrest happens, or a war starts, it can be tempting to look for someone to blame, as the Israelites did. It can be tempting to try to make sense of how we got here. I would suggest to you, though, that much of that work, many of those questions, the bulk of that blame, even if it's ultimately directed at ourselves, is an attempt to do something with our anger at where things are. Rather than take up the harder task of learning to live in the uncertainty, rather than do the work of sitting with our fear, rather than lingering in the dark long enough for our eyes to adjust to it, we rush in with the fire of our anger and try to burn up the uncertainty. We conjure the flames of rage and direct them at some body, some government, some habit, some genetic code. We blame ourselves even. And while doing so may lead us to guilt or despair, while it may lead to depression or deep sadness, make no mistake, the act of assigning blame at all almost always comes from that fire of anger. But in Advent, in this sacred season that starts today, in the 4 weeks that ultimately culminate in Christmas, we are invited to consult another way, another fire. In this time, as we follow the Holy Family in their journey through the deserts of Bethlehem, as we track the 3 kings, shepherds, and wise men from Herod's courts to the little manger, as we sing songs about stars and darkness and the dead of night, we are invited to make room for that other kind of fire. That fire that keeps the sky alight. That fire that cooks food and boils water. That fire that lights our path in the deep darkness. In Advent, we are invited to conjure and to kindle the fire of hope. You see, without that fire, there would be no Christmas. Without the sustaining power of stars, without the candlelight that led Joseph's and Mary's way, without the warmth of campfires and makeshift stoves, without the hope that keeps desperate human beings moving forward into uncertain futures, we would never get to Christmas. We would never get to the moment when God's presence is birthed into the world. Now, this isn't to say that we never need anger, because we do. While I would suggest that blame shouldn't be our first move when disaster strikes, that doesn't mean we don't sometimes need to conjure the fires of rage. What Rebecca Solnit also makes clear in her writings is that in addition to human beings' baseline tendency toward goodness and love, there is also an equally powerful tendency in governments and among many in power to coerce and to manipulate and to decide that certain lives are expendable. When we look at the stories of disasters like Hurricane Katrina, for instance, yes, we need to remember the stories of people who let crisis be the impetus for doing incredible things out of impossible hope. And when it becomes clear that the government decided that some levees weren't worth reinforcing, that some lives could drown without discretion, that some sections of New Orleans weren't worth the effort, then also, yes, conjuring the fires of anger to bring light to the world and burn up a nation's apathy is a worthwhile endeavor. When there is clarity of cause and certainty of circumstance, then yes, the fire of anger is called for. When we know who the villains and the victims are, when we know who our oppressors tend to be, when we know who's abused us or controlled us or exploited our bodies, hearts, our minds, then yes, it is time to conjure the fire of anger. However, in times when we don't quite know, when we are confused or doubtful, when we are uncertain or unknowledgeable, when the facts don't lend themselves to absolutes, that's when we need a different kind of flame. Anger, you see, is the fire that follows clarity and a sure sense of direction. Hope, on the other hand, is what we kindle in the dark. It is the flame that guides us, the warmth that sustains us, the stuff of stoves and candles and stars. You don't need me to tell you that we are in an uncertain time, friends. There are invisible variants of diseases floating around in our midst. There are conflicts underway in which villains and victims are mixed up and muddled. There are social and political forces at work whose ends it is impossible to predict. There are institutions, like the church, that are having to completely reimagine and rearticulate why they even exist. There are years to come in which the right way forward will ultimately be unknowable. We are, like Joseph and Mary and the unborn Jesus, in the dark. Rather than get angry, though, and conjure a fire that threatens to burn everything down, rather than stir rage and incinerate bridges on which we may yet come to depend, rather than seek to blame or burn or bludgeon because we're desperately afraid of the dark, we can kindle hope. We can sit and let our eyes adjust to the darkness. We can even perhaps befriend the blackness and see it as an opportunity to relearn how to do what human beings have done since ever. Boil water. Make tea or coffee or soup. Sew quilts out of tatters. Follow stars. Take care of babies. We can build. We can conjure. We can kindle that fire of hope. May it be so, and amen. We now worship God as we present our offerings. Friends, in just a moment, I am going to invite you to join me in a very special time in the life of our community when we welcome new members into the fold of this beautiful place. Before I do that, though, I just want to take a minute and offer a word of celebration that someone who is already and been long part of the fold of this community, Jan Alderman, is here with us today. Oh, thank you. Yeah. For those who don't know, Jan has been on an arduous cancer journey, well supported by this beautiful community and by her loving partner, Deb. And so it's wonderful to see you both here today. Thank you for being here. I now want to invite up Mikhail Clements, Joseph McCrae, and Matt Bolton up to the front. They haven't joined yet, y'all. Let's give them a minute. The church is a community of individuals with varieties of gifts and experiences. The church is the people of God, with a diversity of ideas and visions. We are inspired by the same Spirit which spoke through the words and deeds of the very first followers of Jesus and speaks through the words of Jesus himself today. Matt, Mikhail, and Joseph have decided to join us in a sacred relationship. They come before us this day in the hope that God might pour out the Spirit of life upon them and all of us together as the church. As you set out on this new journey of togetherness and community with us, we have a few questions for you. Do you desire to follow after the way of Jesus and seek the renewing power of Christ by joining with us to grow in your faith and understanding of God? If so, please say, I do. Do you promise by the grace of God to resist oppression and evil, to show love and justice, and to witness to God's love for the whole human family as best you are able? If so, please say, I do. Do you desire to participate in the life and mission of this community, sharing regularly in the worship of God and supporting the work of this local church as it serves the community and the world? If so, please say, I do. Then let us pray together. Gracious God, we praise you for calling us to faith and for bringing us together. We thank you for sending Matt, Mikhail, and Joseph to us so that we may continue to work together as a community of faith in supporting each other, in serving the world, and in working to actualize your love everywhere. Amen. You are now officially members of First Congregational Church of Memphis. And as an embodiment of this new journey you are on, we have our moderator, Cecilia Johnson-Powell, here to offer you beautiful gifts. Friends, as we welcome these new members into our community, let us join together in saying one more time the list of all of our commitments to one another and the pledges we make as God's people in God's church. Will you rise as we join together in saying our affirmation of community? We will be together. We will stand as brothers and sisters given life by one God. We will be together. We will watch out for one another. We will listen to what needs to be said in a spirit of compassion. We will respect the power of silence. We will wait for the slowest. We will sooner or later catch up with the fastest. We will dry the tears of those who are weeping and know that they will dry ours when the time comes. We will let ourselves begin to feel at least a little of the pain of those we have considered our enemies. We will entrust our stories to each other. We will not be skeptical that peace can come. We will not forget the joy of life. We will not forget to be grateful. We will do our best to stir in each other hope, courage, and faith. You may be seated. Take a moment now, if you would. Let yourself get settled back into your chair. Let your breathing slow down. Let your gaze soften or your eyes close. Let yourself be present in the warm quiet of this holy place. And let us together pray. God who makes fire, God whose presence is to be found in burning bushes and the flames of prayerfully lit candles, we come to you in a spirit of prayer this morning in search of hope. We come with expectant hearts and busy minds. We come with our worries and our wonderings. We come with our wild fears and our foolhardy faith. We come with our stubborn resolve and our sacred intentions to do good and make room for love in a world that too often feels unsafe. Fill us with your grace. Find the tender, hurting places in our bodies and in our lives and lend them your strength. Find the worries and be with us in them. Find our fear and teach us to hold it with steady hands and resilient hearts. This morning, God, we ask that you bring healing, that you bring love, that you bring hope to each of us. For Fran and all her family, be with them in their grief as they mourn the passing of Fran's dear brother Keith. Be with Jan as she celebrates good news and positive next steps on her cancer journey. Be with Courtney as she travels to Chicago to be with all those who are missing and mourning her friend Meredith right now. Be with all of us, O God, in need of the healing you bring, the love that you are, and the hope that you conjure. And it is with that hope that we give thanks for Mikhail, Joseph, and Matt, First Congo's newest official members. Be with this church, this community, and all of its people, O God, as we endeavor to do hard things, countercultural things, revolutionary things. Be with us as we endeavor to trust in the power of unseen and immaterial forces, the power of faith and of justice and of love. Be with us as we take up the work of sharing our bounty, whether it is the resources of our finances, the resources of our time, the underrated resource of our loving attention, the resource of our good news. Be with us as we endeavor to be your hands, your feet, your eyes, ears, and hearts in this blessed world. In the silence that follows, let us better see a blessing that we may have overlooked, O God. Let us see where or in whom you are showing up to reveal beauty and grace in our lives. Out of our silence, we sing. Let us gather now as the people of God to celebrate this sharing of bread and cup, remembering that Jesus' ministry took place around tables. Tables where the outcasts were invited in. Tables where the powerful were humbled. Tables where the hungry were fed. Tables where every single person could find blessing. Come now, O God, and help awaken our senses. Help us be fully present with one another in this beautiful place. Help us to appreciate this table and its gifts, for it is here that we are gathered, filled with good things to eat, and then sent into your world to proclaim grace, life, and peace. We remember Jesus. On the night in which Jesus was betrayed, he sat at suppers. While they were eating, he took a piece of bread, blessed it, and broke it. He gave it to them, saying, "This is my body. Do this in remembrance of me." Again, saying, "This cup is God's new covenant. Drink it to remember me." This blessed table is prepared. I now invite the servers to come and join me. The meal is ready. You may come forward.
When you're not sure who you really are, when all you feel is the shape of your scars,
we covenant with the Lord and one with another, and do bind ourselves in the presence of God to walk together in all his ways, according as he is pleased to reveal himself unto us in his blessed word of truth. Friends, let us go forward into an uncertain time in the dark, ready to kindle that special fire of hope together. Amen. Let's join now in singing our final hymn, O come, Emmanuel.